What truly makes older men attractive is not youth, not wealth, not empty charm. It is something stranger, deeper, traits carved by time, pain, and wisdom. Here are 3 unusual qualities that secretly make them magnetic. The weight of time becomes charisma. What most mistake for decline, Nietzsche would have called transformation. The body changes, yes, but every line etched into the face tells of storms survived. The younger man may boast of muscles and quickness, but his skin is still blank, his spirit still largely untested. There is nothing yet inscribed upon him but the naive energy of beginnings. In contrast, the older man carries his story on his very body. The marks of time do not repel, they intrigue. A furrowed brow suggests years of thought, of decisions that carved themselves into flesh. Lines around the eyes hint at laughter shared and sorrows endured. Even the quiet stoop of the shoulders speaks. This man has carried burdens, and though he may bend, he does not break. Such signs do not lessen attraction, they deepen it. They reveal not mere beauty, which fades, but character, which grows sharper the longer it is forged in fire. Charisma, after all, is not about perfection. It is about presence. The older man has walked through his own abyss and emerged, if not victorious, at least unbroken. There is a silent power in that. When he enters a room, it is not youth's noisy energy that announces him, but a gravity, a kind of quiet magnetism. He does not need to prove himself with exaggerated gestures, with boastful talk, with desperate attempts to capture attention. Time has already proven him. He has suffered, and yet here he is, alive, breathing, standing before you. That survival alone radiates an aura that no young man, however handsome, can imitate. Consider how human beings respond to monuments, ruins, or ancient forests. A cathedral scarred by centuries of weather commands more awe than a brand new structure. An old oak twisted by wind and lightning commands more respect than a sapling, however green. What draws us in is the sense of endurance, of having stood against the erosion of time. The same instinct applies to the older man. His face becomes a landscape of memory, his body a monument to endurance. In his presence one feels a stability, a rootedness, the promise that he cannot be swept away easily by the chaos of the world. This charisma born of time also carries a subtle defiance of death. Every wrinkle declares, "I have lived." Every scar proclaims, "I have fought." Every silver strand of hair whispers, "I have walked through seasons and remained standing." In this way, the older man embodies life's greatest paradox, fragility wrapped in resilience. He is closer to death than the young, yet precisely for that reason he embodies life more fiercely. His very existence radiates vitality, because it is vitality preserved against the odds. Women, whether consciously or not, sense this. They see not merely a man, but a survivor, and that recognition translates into attraction. There is also an element of mystery in the charisma of age. A youthful face tells you everything at once. It is an open book, a surface with no hidden depth. But an older face resists easy interpretation. The lines conceal as much as they reveal. One wonders, what loves has this man known? What battles has he fought and which has he lost? What victories has he tasted and what regrets lie unspoken? Time cloaks him in a veil of narrative, and human beings are irresistibly drawn to stories. The older man becomes a living novel, each glance suggesting chapters untold. Thus, the weight of time does not diminish attraction, but intensifies it. What the untrained eye sees as weakness is in truth a different form of strength, one invisible to the hurried and the shallow. His charisma does not shout. It lingers, it pulls, it endures. Calm amid the tempest is a trait that cannot be faked, for it is not born in the smooth years of youth, but in the storms of life. A young man burns quickly, restless, eager to prove himself. He reacts to every slight, flares up at every challenge, and lets impatience guide his steps. There is a certain beauty in that fire, but it is unstable, exhausting, and easily consumed. The older man, however, has learned through experience that most battles do not require immediate response, that not every insult is worth the energy of reply, and that life itself often rewards stillness over frenzy. His calm is not passivity. It is mastery. It comes from having seen enough chaos to know its rhythms, to understand when to engage and when to wait. This composure is magnetic because it suggests control not only over circumstances but over the self. To stand calm while others are swept away by fear or anger is to radiate a kind of authority that cannot be taught in books or acquired in a single day. Women sense this difference instantly. They feel the stability of a man who has weathered tempests without collapsing into them. The steadiness of his presence acts like an anchor in a world that so often feels wild and unstable. It is a rare kind of security, one that makes others lean toward him unconsciously, seeking refuge in his unshaken center. Calmness is attractive because it whispers of power. Not the loud, dramatic kind of power that seeks to dominate, but the subtler, deeper power of restraint. A young man may roar, boast, and display his strength at every opportunity, but such displays betray insecurity. The older man does not need to announce his strength. His calm silence speaks louder than words. It suggests he has nothing to prove because he has already faced himself and found balance. This quiet authority pulls more strongly than any grand gesture, because it is rooted in authenticity. In relationships, this calm transforms how he moves and speaks. He does not rush to impress or chase attention desperately. He knows that true interest grows slowly, like fire spreading from embers. He listens more than he talks, and when he does speak, his words are measured, deliberate, carrying the weight of thought. This patience creates a sense of mystery. Others lean closer, waiting for what he might say next. In contrast, the chatter of younger men soon tires the ear. The calm man speaks less, but each word matters more. The calm of age is also an antidote to anxiety. In a world where everything seems urgent, where messages demand instant replies, and where the future constantly presses with uncertainty, the presence of someone unhurried becomes irresistible. He does not crumble under deadlines, nor does he panic at sudden change. He has lived through enough to know that most fears pass, most storms lose their strength, and most crises are less than they first appear. This perspective is profoundly attractive because it is rare. It reassures those around him that life is survivable, that chaos is not as final as it seems, that one can endure with grace. There is also an aesthetic to calm. Movement becomes slower, more deliberate, and thus more powerful. Eye contact lingers without haste. Gestures are minimal yet precise. This economy of motion conveys a sense of elegance that no frantic energy can match. The older man becomes like a still lake reflecting the sky. One feels depth not in what moves but in what remains steady. This quiet composure suggests he has conquered the storm within himself, and nothing is more magnetic than a man who holds dominion over his own soul. The authority of experience is not a crown placed upon the head, but a weight carried in the voice, in the gestures, in the way a man stands before others. When an older man speaks, his words no longer come from theory alone, but from memory, from scars, from the countless times he has seen ideals tested in the fire of reality. A younger man may speak with confidence, but often that confidence is borrowed, imitative, taken from books or the opinions of others. The older man, however, has lived enough to draw from his own well, and that difference is unmistakable. His words carry the gravity of one who has endured, and people feel it, even if they cannot articulate why. It is not volume that gives them weight, but depth. Authority here does not mean domination. It is not the rigid control of one who demands obedience, but the quiet assurance of someone who has walked through storms and emerged with understanding. When he shares advice, it does not sound like instruction. It feels like revelation because it is backed by lived truth. That is why people lean in to listen. They may not even like what he says, but they cannot easily dismiss it, because beneath every sentence lies the invisible ink of experience. It is the difference between reading about the sea and having survived a shipwreck. One may describe waves, but the other has been swallowed by them and lived to tell. This lived authority naturally changes the way others perceive him. A younger man often fights to be heard, raising his voice, competing for space, trying to force recognition. An older man often does the opposite. He speaks less, but when he does, silence gathers around him, not because he demands it, but because people sense that something of value is being offered. The pauses between his words feel intentional, and those listening instinctively wait, knowing meaning will emerge. This creates attraction of a subtle but powerful kind. People are not drawn to noise. They are drawn to significance, and significance is what experience creates. In social settings, this authority of experience shapes presence itself. He does not rush to impress, does not decorate himself with exaggerated displays, because he knows true value is not proved in a moment. He has already faced successes and failures, already felt the rise and fall of fortune. This history frees him from the desperation of constant validation. He does not seek attention, and precisely because of that, attention comes to him. His authority lies in not needing to be recognized, and it is that absence of need that makes others recognize him all the more. There is a deep attractiveness in this, because it awakens trust. To be near someone whose words and actions emerge from decades of living rather than the fleeting impulses of the moment creates a sense of security. One feels that in his presence decisions are guided not by whim, but by wisdom. This is why older men are often sought for counsel, why their opinion can shift the mood of an entire group, why even silence from them feels like a form of communication. Authority here is less about command and more about resonance, the kind of resonance that only time can carve into a soul. The authority of experience also carries mystery. Every statement suggests a hidden story behind it. When he says something simple, it hints at a lifetime of trial and error, of lessons learned painfully, of insights bought at high cost. Those listening cannot help but wonder, what happened to give these words their weight? That unspoken question lingers, drawing people closer, not because the older man asks for attention, but because his very presence awakens curiosity. He does not tell the whole story, but the fragments that emerge make others want to hear more. This is the secret power of experience. It does not shout, it does not force. It speaks with a quiet gravity that bends the air around it. It transforms ordinary words into living testimony. It makes silence itself a form of speech. And it is this depth, born only of time, that renders the older man not just noticed, but unforgettable. Detached confidence is a form of power that does not announce itself loudly, yet it is felt immediately by those who encounter it. It is different from arrogance, which demands recognition, and it is different from insecurity, which constantly seeks approval. This kind of confidence arises when a man has lived enough years, tasted enough failures, and endured enough losses to finally realize that no one's validation can secure his worth. In youth, the need for approval is almost constant. The young man dresses to impress, speaks to be admired, competes for attention, and is unsettled when others do not notice him. His energy is restless, directed outward, always chasing affirmation. The older man, having passed through this stage, no longer burns with such hunger. He has learned that the applause of the crowd is fleeting, that the opinions of others shift like weather, and that the pursuit of approval often enslaves more than it liberates. From this understanding, a strange and magnetic freedom is born. This detachment is not indifference to life, but freedom from dependence. He may still enjoy admiration, but he does not need it to stand upright. He may still accept affection, but he does not crumble without it. This balance creates a powerful attraction because it suggests self-possession. People are instinctively drawn to those who do not beg for attention, because such individuals appear to hold some secret source of strength within. Detached confidence radiates the message, I am enough, even without your recognition. This is why it often makes older men compelling. They have reached a stage where they carry their own sense of value, and that independence glows quietly around them. Such confidence alters the way they move through the world. They do not rush to prove themselves in every conversation, nor do they compete desperately for space in a room. Instead, they stand with a kind of ease, knowing that their worth is not determined in a single moment. When they speak, their words are not pushed forward to gain approval, but flow naturally, without strain. Silence no longer feels threatening, because they do not fear being forgotten. They are content to let others fill the air, for they no longer measure their presence by how much noise they make. This calm refusal to chase recognition paradoxically makes them more noticeable. The one who does not demand attention often receives the most of it. In relationships, detached confidence becomes even more magnetic. A man who does not cling, who does not fear loss as if it would annihilate him, creates an aura of stability. He does not smother with neediness, nor does he manipulate to keep affection close. Instead, he stands as one who could walk away if he must, and that quiet possibility makes his presence more desired. The balance of being available without being dependent, of caring without collapsing, awakens respect and attraction. It is not cruelty, but strength, the strength to remain whole even when others come and go. There is also a serenity to this kind of confidence. It allows him to enjoy the moment without obsessing over outcomes. He does not need to prove that he is winning, nor does he fear being judged as losing. He is less disturbed by comparison, for he has seen enough to know that someone will always be richer, stronger, or more admired. What matters is not chasing the endless ladder, but inhabiting one's own life fully. This attitude feels liberating to those around him. It suggests a life no longer enslaved by external measures, and that liberation is attractive because it offers others a glimpse of how freedom might feel. Detached confidence is ultimately the fruit of experience. It cannot be faked because it grows from the long process of living, failing, learning, and realizing that the world's approval was never the final prize. It is the quiet strength of one who walks his own path without begging the world to confirm it. It is the kind of presence that does not pursue, yet somehow it always draws others closer. The mystery of shadows is one of the most magnetic qualities age can give to a man, for it is not something that can be crafted or rehearsed. Mystery emerges from depth, and depth emerges from living, from enduring, from carrying both victories and wounds within. A younger man often reveals himself entirely, sometimes even too quickly. His story is still short, and so he lays it bare, hoping that openness alone will draw others close. But an older man, whether by choice or by necessity, carries a longer history, one that cannot be spoken in a single sitting, one that cannot be understood at a glance. His face holds suggestions of untold tales, his silences feel like locked rooms, and his eyes hint at emotions both tender and dark. This veil of the unspoken becomes a powerful form of attraction, because human beings are drawn to what they cannot immediately decipher. Mystery here is not deception. It is not the deliberate hiding of truth for manipulation. Instead, it is the natural aura of someone who has lived through enough experiences to make his interior world layered and complex. He has known failure, but not all of it is confessed. He has loved and lost, but not every story is retold. He has faced nights of despair and mornings of quiet triumph, yet he does not parade them all. The result is a presence that resists complete understanding, and in that resistance, curiosity is born. Curiosity is one of the strongest forces in attraction, because it keeps others leaning in, wanting to know more, never feeling the mystery exhausted. When an older man carries this shadowed aura, he becomes like a book with pages missing. Every fragment revealed points to something greater that remains concealed. A simple phrase or a casual remark hints at a backstory untold. Even the pauses between his words carry weight, as though he were choosing carefully what to reveal and what to withhold. This tension between known and unknown creates a magnetism that cannot be manufactured. Others begin to sense that there is more beneath the surface, and they are pulled toward discovering it, even if they never fully succeed. Attraction thrives not in immediate possession, but in the endless unfolding of depth. The mystery of shadows also gives dignity to his presence. Those who reveal everything too quickly often lose allure, because there is nothing left to uncover. The older man's restraint, however, suggests wisdom. He does not feel the need to expose every detail of his life for validation. He allows his past to rest in silence, revealing only what feels necessary, and this self-possession creates respect. People intuit that his identity is not given away cheaply, and in turn, they value it more. Mystery elevates worth by implying that what is hidden is precious. There is also something protective in this shadowed quality. Life inevitably wounds, and many of those wounds do not vanish with time. They simply become quieter. An older man carries within him griefs that may never be spoken aloud, regrets that still linger, moments of joy that memory alone holds sacred. These invisible layers surround him like an atmosphere, perceptible but not visible. To be near him is to feel that he has lived fully, that he has touched both light and darkness, and that he carries those experiences with a solemn kind of grace. The mystery here is not staged. It is the natural consequence of survival. This quality makes him endlessly compelling because it cannot be consumed all at once. Each interaction uncovers something new, a fragment of his story, a glimpse of his perspective, a flash of hidden passion. Yet even as more is revealed, the sense of something deeper remains. There is always another shadow, another corner unseen, another silence pregnant with meaning. It is this inexhaustibility that makes the mystery of shadows so attractive. Unlike superficial charm, it does not fade after the first encounter. Instead, it grows, pulling others closer with each step, promising that the more one learns, the more there still is to discover. Strength woven with vulnerability is perhaps the most human and paradoxical quality that age brings to a man. It is not the raw strength of youth, which often feels like a weapon swinging wildly, nor is it the helpless fragility of defeat. It is a fusion, a strange balance that can only emerge after years of testing, breaking, and mending. The older man learns that true power is not about constant domination, nor is it about always appearing untouchable. He understands that strength without softness hardens into cruelty, while vulnerability without resilience dissolves into weakness. To embody both is to become something far more magnetic than either extreme alone. This balance begins with the recognition of limits. A younger man often tries to deny them. He hides his pain, disguises his failures, and resists admitting fear, because he believes vulnerability diminishes him. But the older man has lived long enough to know that denying weakness only enslaves you to it. He has faced times when he broke down, when he wept, when he doubted himself, and he has discovered that such moments did not destroy him, they deepened him. Having confronted his own fragility, he no longer fears it. Instead, he integrates it into his being, and that integration gives him a rare kind of authority. He can be strong without pretending to be invincible, and that honesty itself is attractive. Strength woven with vulnerability changes the way he interacts with others. His strength gives those around him safety. His vulnerability gives them connection. People do not want to stand beside a stone wall, unyielding and cold. They want to stand beside someone who can protect, but also someone who can feel. The older man who embodies this paradox offers both. His strength assures others that he can endure storms, that he can carry weight when needed. His vulnerability assures them that he will not turn into a tyrant, that he knows what it means to suffer, that he can extend empathy instead of judgment. This combination creates a magnetic presence, because it is both grounding and inviting. There is also a subtle courage in showing vulnerability openly. It takes bravery to reveal wounds, especially in a world that often equates masculinity with silence and hardness. The older man, however, has less to prove. He has already carried his share of battles, and he no longer fears appearing imperfect. When he admits his fears or shares his failures, it does not weaken him. It strengthens the bond between him and those who listen. Vulnerability becomes a form of honesty, and honesty is deeply compelling because it is so rare. To encounter someone who does not hide behind masks, who does not need to present an illusion of constant strength, is to encounter someone trustworthy. At the same time, his strength ensures that vulnerability never turns into helplessness. He is capable of standing firm, of holding his ground, of protecting those he loves, but he does not hide behind that capacity. He allows tenderness to coexist with power. He may speak with firmness, but he can also speak with gentleness. He may stand unshaken in crisis, yet he can also admit when fear gnaws at him. This harmony makes him feel alive in a way that pure bravado or pure fragility never could. What emerges from this union is depth of character. The older man becomes a figure who embodies contradiction, yet holds it together gracefully. He is both shelter and fellow traveler, both shield and open heart. Others are drawn to him because he represents the wholeness they long for within themselves, the ability to be powerful without losing compassion, to be vulnerable without losing dignity. It is this very paradox that makes him not only attractive but unforgettable, because he embodies the truth that to be fully human is to carry both strength and tenderness, and to let them coexist without shame. In the end, what makes older men truly attractive is not the illusion of youth, but the truth of time. Charisma etched by survival, calm born from storms, authority forged in experience, confidence free of need, mystery carved by silence, and the rare union of strength with vulnerability. These are the unusual traits that set them apart. They remind us that real attraction is not found in perfection, but in depth. And depth is the one thing only a life fully lived can give.